You ever have one of those moments where you look at your life and think, is this really happening? Because, let me tell you, when the HOA president stood in my front yard, jabbing her finger at my wife and shouting, "I'm calling the police right now," all because Angela said no thanks to joining the HOA. It was so wild, so off the rails, that for a second, I just stood there waiting for the hidden cameras to pop out. But nope, that was just the start. What began as a polite no from my quiet, Honda-driving wife snowballed into a 3-month spiral of neighborhood madness, surveillance, legal threats, and believe it or not, a federal investigation, all unfolding on our perfect little street, where the most exciting thing was supposed to be the block party and maybe whose hydrangeas bloomed first. You think I'm exaggerating? Stick around, because this story is about to go places. So, let me back up a sec. 3 months earlier, Angela and I finally bought the house we'd been saving for. Meadow Brook Estates. Picture it. Big white picket fence, kids on bikes, neighbors who wave. We spent a year looking for a place that ticked every box. Good schools, quiet streets, and, most importantly, no HOA nonsense. The old owner winked and told us, "You're free and clear, trust me." Man, I should have known that was foreshadowing. I'm Justin Roberts, a high school history teacher, so half my job is convincing teens the past matters. Angela? She's always been cagey about her work. County government, admin, boring paperwork. Or so she says. We're the definition of normal. Pizza on Fridays, coupon clipping, nothing fancy. This house was our fresh start, a place to maybe start a family, a spot to put down roots. For 2 days, it was heaven. Just boxes, plans for a veggie garden, and the sweet sound of no neighbors peering over the fence. Day 3, though, our doorbell rings. There's Diane Parker on the porch, perfect blonde bob, expensive workout clothes, clipboard in hand, and the kind of tight smile that says, "I run this place." She introduces herself as the HOA president, launches into her spiel about community standards, and hands me a folder thick with official-looking documents. Annual dues are $300. Really an excellent value, she chirps. Now, I'm already thinking, wait, what? I tell her, I think there's a misunderstanding. This house isn't under an HOA. Diane's face twitches, just for a second, before she says, "That's not quite how it works around here." Angela joins us, cool as always, and Diane zeroes in, her tone shifting from neighborly to interrogator. "What do you do?" she asks, all polite venom. Angela keeps it vague. Compliance and enforcement, she says, which weirdly satisfies Diane, but the whole interaction already feels like an interview I never applied for. Angela's "no, thank you" is polite but final. That's when Diane's mask drops, her smile freezes, her posture straightens, and she says, "Well, I hope you'll reconsider. It can be challenging to not be part of the established community. There's a threat there, even if you can't put your finger on it." Next morning, taped to our front door is a violation notice. Grass too long, mailbox wrong color, garden beds not up to aesthetic standards. It's nonsense, and Angela reads it with the focus of a lawyer prepping for court. Petty retaliation, she says. She's targeting us. Angela, who suddenly seems way too comfortable parsing bureaucratic harassment, explains it's all about paper trails, deliberately vague, so you can't fight it. That's when I start thinking maybe there's more to Angela's boring paperwork job than she lets on. That night, flyers for a community meeting are stuffed in our mailbox. The tone is concerned neighbors, but the subtext is clear. Diane is rallying the troops against us. So I show up. Diane runs the meeting like a prosecutor, clicking through slides showing our violations, big red circles on pictures of our house. She calls us certain people who are threats to community values. It's so dramatic you'd think we burned the flag on the front lawn. Then, twist, a neighbor, Mike Davis, speaks up. 8 years here, their place is fine, he says. A ripple runs through the room. Some folks lower their phones, and I realize not everyone's drinking Diane's Kool-Aid. But Diane isn't done. Over the next weeks, violation notices pile up, surveillance ramps up. Pictures of Angela leaving for work, architectural diagrams of our house appear in our mailbox, anonymous notes warning me that your wife isn't who she says she is. Suddenly, I'm not just worried about the HOA. I'm worried about what Angela might really do for a living. I ask her about it, and, for once, she doesn't brush it off. Somebody's been doing research, she says. Her tone is different, quiet, almost resigned. Things escalate. Security lights are tampered with. Our hose gets slashed. Someone's prowling around our backyard at 2 a.m. Angela responds by documenting everything. Photos, measurements, timelines. When the city code inspector finally shows up, thanks to Diane, he takes one look at our yard and tells me, "Sir, this is a waste of everyone's time. Your lawn's perfect. Your neighbor's complaint is personal, not regulatory." Vindication, sweet, but short-lived. See, Diane's tactics get more desperate. She launches a social media smear campaign, painting us as selfish newcomers. Angela, in what's becoming a pattern, starts screenshotting everything, quietly building a case. Neighbors start to see through the act. Mike and Betty, an older lady down the street, both come by with cookies and stories about how Diane's pressured them too. Turns out, a lot of folks have quietly resented Diane, but were too scared to speak up. Mike lets me in on a secret. The HOA is broke, and Diane's on the hook for thousands if she can't recruit new members. Now her campaign makes a twisted kind of sense. But then things get truly bizarre. Diane starts talking about community security, patrolling our sidewalk with a notebook, muttering about tactical awareness and law enforcement backgrounds. One night, she drops her notebook and I see my wife's name. Subject displays tactical awareness. Recommend extreme caution. Suddenly it's clear. Diane thinks Angela's not just a bureaucrat, but law enforcement, maybe undercover. I confront Angela. She doesn't deny it, just says, "We need to implement basic security protocols." Yeah, that happened. Next, Diane whips the neighborhood into a frenzy, claims Angela's running a surveillance op out of our house. She gathers a mob on our lawn, half the block, people with phones out, ready to see a showdown. I'm ready for the worst when Angela steps out, calm as ever, and finally drops the act. You want to know what I do? I'm the county sheriff. I swear, the silence was so thick you could hear a pin drop. Diane stares, jaw on the floor. Neighbors start whispering. And then, just like a bad sitcom, Diane pulls out her phone and calls 911, insisting Angela's impersonating law enforcement. 10 minutes later, 2 squad cars pull up. Officer Smith, who's already seen Diane's violation campaign, takes one look at Angela, one look at Diane, and tries not to laugh. Diane starts ranting about conspiracies, but it's over. Smith cuffs Diane, arrests her for stalking, trespassing, harassment, false reports, the whole neighborhood watching. It's the kind of poetic justice you only see in movies. But, plot twist, turns out, all of Diane's obsessive surveillance actually caught something real. A house 3 streets over had been under federal investigation for money laundering. Diane's notes, meant to frame us, actually helped the feds make the case. Even the criminals decided to move out because Diane was so unhinged, they felt unsafe. After that, peace returned to our street. Mike took over the HOA, Betty started baking for everyone, and for the first time, Angela and I could actually breathe. Angela's real job wasn't a problem, it made the neighborhood safer. People laughed about the ultimate neighborhood watch. Diane moved away in disgrace, with a restraining order, a record, and a reputation that'll follow her forever. So what did I learn? Maybe nothing. But I'll tell you, when life gets crazy, you really find out who your neighbors are. And sometimes the wildest stories are the ones that actually happen right next door. So, tell me, if you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Ever had an HOA war go nuclear? Drop a comment. Let's debate justice, community, and how far is too far when it comes to neighborhood drama.